So we're wrapping up the Vancouver Canucks 2020 NHL entry draft with the final three picks. Guys who honestly you could define as sort of steals depending on who you ask, but pretty much today we're talking about Jacob Truscott, a defenseman who's going over to the University of Michigan. We're talking about Dimitri ZLODEYEV, a player in the MHL who is also doing some pretty good things. And then we're also talking about Viktor PERSSON. He is a future Kamloops Blazer. So keep your eyes out over for these prospects. Let's go over the actual draft profiles. Jacob Truscott is the first one over here, drafted 144th by Vancouver in the 5th round. 6'1", 179-pound left-handed D-man. You'll take a look at the projections. EP had him at 105, future considerations at 215, so that's a huge drop-off. But the next few actually kind of seem a little bit more optimistic because Craig Button had him at 67, McKeen's at 68. You can read the scouting report over here. He has great edge work and mobility for passing options. Pretty much what they were talking about on NHL Network about Jacob Truscott is that the guy plays a very similar game to Alex Edler. And that is a very specific comparison that they use to illustrate just how effective this guy apparently is for the NTDP playing as a nice two-way D-man. You'll notice the point totals, 21 points, 47 games. It's not incredible, but indeed it is something that allowed him to get very high ratings like 67 by Button, 68 by McKeen's. This is at the top of the 3rd round pretty much, and he dropped all the way to the mid-5th. He's a guy who indeed is able to do all the little things right. He's good at a few things, not really the master of any. Take a look at the Last Word on Sports report. Good skater, good offensive game, good stick handling ability, can retrieve pucks, strong skating, he's good defensively, projection and comparison. He does a lot of things well, but he doesn't really have an outstanding trait. So we'll see what he's able to do with the University of Michigan Wolverines. We know very well how well prospects have worked out from that program. So I'm looking forward to it. Who knows how well he does become, but we shall see. As for Dimitri ZLODEYEV, he is an 18-year-old February-born 2002 player. He's a center, 5'11", 181 pounds. He was ranked 57th by Craig Button, and he went all the way over here in the 6th round by the Vancouver Canucks, 175th overall. The other projections had him at 147 and 115. Take a look at the point totals. 28 points, 42 games last year for MHK Dynamo Moscow. Not incredible. But this most recent season, my goodness, most active season at the moment, 5 points in 7 MHL games. He actually was promoted up to the VHL, which is the AHL of Russia. He's got 3 points, 3 goals in 5 games played, which is really good, actually. Getting pro time with the men in the 2nd-tier Russian league as a guy who is only 18 years old certainly is a good sign. So, as a 6th-round pick, this honestly is somewhat of a steal just based off of the projection and how nicely a ranking of 3 goals in 5 VHL games plays out for an 18-year-old. Obviously, I don't want to say that he's a steal just yet because, hey, he's just an NHL prospect who isn't really there yet, but he is indeed a guy who does project to having some form of talent in Russia, so we'll see how he grows and develops in the VHL, in eventually the KHL, and we'll see how that eventually goes down. But he exactly is a project as well, just like a few of the other guys that we've talked about. Finally, though, we have Viktor PERSSON. He is a guy whom was ranked a lot higher than he was taken. 191st overall by the Canucks in the 7th round, 42nd by Craig Button. So Button eating up all of the Vancouver picks over here. He was ranked 95th by Elite Prospects, 231 by Future Considerations. Take a look at the scouting report over here. He's a right-handed D-man, 6'2". He's played in Brinosh his entire career. He's going over to Kamloops next season, and the point totals are honestly pretty okay. But take a look at the scouting report. There's more to his game offensively than the point totals would indicate. A big part of his success comes from his abilities as a distributor, good calls when joining the rush or playing more passively. He maintains a high work rate, active feet, smart skating patterns, always open to receive a pass. I like that a lot. Definitely you can't go wrong with a guy like this in the 7th round. Come on, it's the 7th round. You're swinging for upside here. You're swinging for an overall level of projectability towards the next level. And if the first step for Viktor Persson is to accomplish that in the WHL, we shall see what happens. This is actually the draft pick that the Vancouver Canucks acquired in the Michael Del Zotto trade all that time ago. January 2019, it was the 191st overall pick. The Vancouver Canucks didn't actually have their own 7th round pick in this draft because it was actually sent over to San Jose in the Marek Mazanec trade over to New York, and then Marek Mazanec's draft pick got sent over to San Jose in a little swap that happened earlier today. So that is the story of the Vancouver Canucks here. The final 3 picks, Jacob Truscott we have as our University of Michigan guy. We have Dimitri ZLODEYEV as another MHL guy in the system, and Viktor Persson, a local guy who is becoming local. He's a Swedish guy who's going over to the WHL, so we'll see how these 3 project into the future. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video. Talk to me in the comments what you think about these draft picks, social _9, and bye.